my screen is over here. So kalau I didn't face the camera, is it okay? I just face my screen.
Tak apa.
Okay, alright. Okay. Okay. So that's about me tadi. Okay. Okay. Alright. Okay. So so the expectation, okay, from this sharing session is actually just want to say that the expectation is to cover about the project management in organization and leadership techniques, inclusive of project initiation, planning, and scheduling, in order to identify the critical phase, risk, and mitigation plans. So it is expected from the sharing session, the students are able to correlate management problem with the proper solution. Second, to respond to the proper leadership technique to manage human resource, individual and also group. And the third one, to identify management function in organization. Okay, so actually there is a fine line between engineering project management and also project management. Both is sharing the similarity of overseeing planning, budgeting, and also resources all about team to that respective organization in order to complete the engineering project or any project outcome. So that's the main thing. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, what is project management? Okay, the project itself is a temporary endeavor. Just a temporary saja sebab project ni is ada on, ada off. Dia start dengan juga end. Okay, so a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique result. What to say here is actually project having a different unique of approach and also unique of result. Every project tak sama, but there are similarity in terms of dia punya criteria. That is a similar, but result can be different. Okay, for example, project you are building an office, or maybe you are building, for my case, you are building a refinery plant, or build an integrated offshore facilities. It seems that macam it's not only it's a physical thing, bangunan ke, platform ke apa, tapi the project also can be consist of you upgrading your network, or maybe you are developing software. So that is project. So anything that is temporary endeavor to be taken that give a specific or unique result. Okay. So what is project management? Project management is how do you apply your knowledge, your skills, your tools, your techniques, your experience to that particularly project, especially the project activities, in order to meet the project objective and also requirement. To say that what you wanted, what is the outcome of the project itself. Okay, so just take a look into this one. The project, okay, let me put mana screen pointer. All right, okay. So what is the difference between project management and also engineering management? Anybody can guess? Apa beza project management dengan engineering management?
Yeah, try you guys. Who can Clarence, can you try? Or Koyum? Ay, senyap.
I think, oh, by the way, hello, good morning. Okay.
Yes, Koyum.
I think for engineering managers, basically it's like a responsibility is for managing the employees, something like that. But if project management, it's more into our business plan, perhaps, like engineering management. Yeah, I think so.
It's okay. It's okay. Good try. Anybody
Clarence.
else? Good.
Clarence, can you try? Oh, Hadi.
Sorry. What was the question again?
Idong.
Question is,
I went to
question
toilet
is over
now.
here. Yeah, what is the difference between project management and engineering management?
Or when it comes to project management, it usually involves with a lot of not say I'm sorry if it involve project management, it will involve a lot of people. I think that it requires quite extensive of plannings up until including the backup plans and what if it doesn't goes in a direction that you want, so you have to have something as a backup plan. And in terms of in engineering management, it has how do I say this, an excessive of people where you really need to refer to certain people and get how do I say, it's more to professionalism punya things like I'm not sure how to explain this.
Okay, that's okay.
I would like to
Okay,
add
fine.
something.
Yep.
Yes, please.
So basically, for the major difference is, I think engineering management is the supervisor is the engineer. Yeah, I think that's the major difference.
Okay. Anybody else nak give a try?
The ladies.
Tak ada
Come on,
salah
ladies.
betul ni. Tak ada salah betul ni. Just based on your opinion, based on your point of view.
Syahira ke? Or Aisyah? Nurul Aida? Yes, Syahira.
I think project management is to what is pantau? Oh, supervise a group of macam company project. But if engineering management, an engineer who supervise the other engineer in the team or department, I think lah.
Thank you, Syahira. Siapa lagi? Tak ada Okay lah.
Aisyah. Aisyah, can
okay.
you try?
Prof suruh.
For
Aisyah.
me, project management revolves to ensure that the project runs smoothly, but engineering management is more like to ensure that the output and the product becomes meet the requirement.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Qayyum. Thank you. Just now was Clarence. Clarence, sorry. Syahira and also Aisyah. Thank you. I think you got the thing right at one point. Okay. But I mean, nothing wrong. Nothing is wrong. I just want to summarize everything that you have said. So project management is you are managing the project. So the lead or the supervisor is the project manager himself. So you are manage the project in terms of the schedule, the cost, this project facing, the activities, everything until it's completed. Whereas engineering management is specifically somebody that supervise all the engineering activities. For example, the lead of the engineering management normally is the engineering manager. So he supervise just specific to his role as within the engineering only. So he may interact with the project manager in terms of overseeing the overall project, but his focus is to be more in this engineering punya deliverables or the outcome of the engineering. Okay, tapi semua betul, tak ada masalah. Okay.
Congrats.
Okay. Congrats. Thank you. Okay, dia bagi warm up sikit bagi pagi ni kan. Okay. Alright. Okay. Next slide. Okay. What is the project management essentials? What do you know or normally associated with project management? First, you know the project management is about the communication, teamwork, analysis, budget, planning, problem solving, milestones, control, risk, goals, and deadlines. Ada banyak lagi It is not limited to this only, but there are many others that associated well with project management. From my point of view, there are those essentials that actually is really kata connected well with project management that really have to taken care of. Okay, all right. What are they? It's actually people. Teamwork is consisted of people or your resources. Your people is your asset. To somebody, I mean, someone is saying that your people is your asset. Okay. So second, about your budget, which is your cost, your budget, your finance, your everything about the money. Okay. Third is the schedule planning. Planning is actually you are planning the activities, you are try to adhere with your schedule. So schedule is very important for the project management. The fourth, risk. So this is something that every project must consider, must acknowledge, must know, and also must assess, and also must mitigate the risk. So this is very important because if you're not taking care of this risk, so the project will have an impact later on. Okay, this is very important. The most important one is the goal. What do you want from this project? The goal, the objective, the target. This is very important. If you do not have a clear goal or you do not have a clear target, then it will be a big problem. I give an example. At the beginning of the project, the goal is not set clearly. Okay. They tak set clearly at the beginning of people are assuming only, okay, I want to this, I want this. When the project progress, okay, supposedly project cannot progress because kalau kita follow the guidance, the governance, everything, you cannot progress the project until your goal is clear. Okay, just give example, the project progress, suddenly within the project execution, orang tu cakap, okay, I want to add this scope, I want to have this, I want to change this, semua. So what can you imagine the end of the outcome of the project? What will happen? So a bit haywire, tak tahu apa goal, tak tahu apa, what is target, what is your goal, your aim, everything. At the end, tak tahu apa jadi. Budget, duit, schedule, your time also habis, or everything is habis. So this is very important. You need to have your goal, objective, and target. It need to be specific. Cannot be macam you cannot have like macam too wide or too open-ended macam tak boleh. You need to have a very specific target. Kalau boleh in figure, in the deadline, everything. For example, I want to build this office with this size, and then this one. At the end of 2023, this will be completed. That's your detailed target. This is very important. Okay, please remember this. Okay. Okay, next one. Okay, here I want to share with you to understand the project phases. Okay, somebody will call it as a project life cycle. Okay, this is very common. Everyone will face this. Okay, first, okay, there is a stage we call it. Okay, banyak nama, but the thing is the first stage will be define. You have to define what is your goal. What is your target? What is your objective? In here also, we need to define our specification. How are we going to achieve that goal? That's very important. Okay, you have the objective, your goal. You have to define macam mana, how can you do? I mean, if let's say I want the communication, because we are communication, so I want the communication radio link between this point A to point B. How do I do that? I will install my microwave radio, or for example, I want to install my fiber optic link, or maybe I want to install the satellite communication or anything. So how to achieve it? Okay. So after that, you define your task, every task. Okay, this guy will do this, we will do this accordingly by this time, apa semua tu. And then you set your responsibility. Okay. So this is a stage, a very important stage in order for you to define the project clearly, what you want. Okay. The next one, plan. Okay. I would say, kalau among these four, I would say this is the heaviest one, and this is a very important phase where you got to plan it properly. First, you plan your schedule, macam mana, how long, when you want to complete it. Second, your budget. The budget is very important. As what Prof said just now, cost, money is very important actually. Nak kata wang segala-galanya kan, tak tahulah kan. Tapi budget is important is for the project. Okay. Okay. Resources. This is another factor, very important factor. Resources. You got the money, but you don't get the right person to do it, then habis. Okay. Risk. We got to analyze. At this stage, we got to analyze already our risk. If we do like this, what will happen? If you did like this, what will happen? So everything, the risk has been need to accounted for. Okay. The following one is the KPI setting. It's the same like this, target. Okay. Tapi this is more detailed. Okay. KPI. I want the quality to be like this. I want the schedule to be on time. Or this is your KPI setting, your target. Okay. And then the biggest one is the ITB. ITB stands for the invitation to bid. This is where you have to define, okay, if let's say you want to engage the contractor or somebody else to do it, you have to define your requirement, everything and spell out to the contractor and do the contract setting. You do the contract setting, this is what your scope of work, this is your objective, this is your budget, this is your everything, what you want from the contractor to compete, to bid. And also, if let's say there are many contractors, then you have to evaluate, you have to choose which one is the best. The principle is, the principle normally practiced in Petronas is, we go for the technical acceptable with the lower commercial. Faham? So maksudnya technically accepted. I mean the bidder is able to meet our technical requirement with the lowest punya commercial figure. For example, this company A dia bagi 10,000, company B 15,000, company C 20,000. So of course we choose the lowest one, 10 million, I mean 10,000 macam tu. Okay, so that's a very important one. Okay, and then after that, whoever wins, whoever get the job will be awarded continue to the project. So we'll execute. Okay, everything settled here, and then we move to the next phase, which is the execution. Okay, here the execution, we have the budget already, we have the resources already, we have the everything is already in order. We just want to ensure the execution phase is being executed accordingly to the KPI, to the schedule that been set earlier, where we need the progress report. Okay, progress report is very important for you to know where you are. Okay, kita tengok mana kita, adakah kita ahead of the time, ahead of the schedule, or we are behind the schedule. Behind tu berapa banyak, berapa persen. So that's very important. Along the way pun ada kadang-kadang contractor will submit the change order. Dia kata, okay, earlier I meet this one, but now I cannot meet. So I propose you for the alternative solution. So this is where the project team need to to determine whether the change order is valid or not, still meeting the project requirement or not. So it's up to the company to approve it. So of course, this is the biggest chunk, the deliverables. Deliverables means the documents, data sheet, drawings, reports, everything will be in here. So this is time where the project team need to review and approve all the deliverables that submitted by the contractor in order to execute and in order to install. Okay, so of course, quality is important, and also project need to be forecast. The project manager has to forecast whether this project, whether it will be successful or not, will be meeting time schedule or not, will be meeting the budget or not. Okay, this is important. After that, the next phase will be the commission and deliver. So of course, it will be the period where we train the people, hand over, do the final documentation, and also of course the lesson learned. I like to use this one. There's one term lah in Petronas called as an auto boss, meaning that on time, you execute on time, on budget, on schedule. So just remember this. Okay, this is the typical project phase of the life cycle. Okay. Before anything, let's take a look one example of Petronas project phase ataupun life cycle. Okay, you can see Petronas punya lagi detail. Okay, this for example for your information. Tapi this is very important because there are elements that actually I would like to show is very much connected with your curriculum ni juga with the course ni. Okay, the first one, the first phase define. This is where the first phase. I mean, we call it as a framing. Okay, what does this framing or define phase is about? Is to identify business opportunity to fit the corporate strategy initiative. There's a gatekeeper, we call it, where we have to submit certain document in order to fulfill and meet the framing punya objective. Kalau katakan does not meet, this thing will not move on. It just stop dekat sini until it's satisfied. So the gate zero is, the gated punya phase ni is very important. Every gate must have a proper, adequate and so acceptable punya submission. Okay, nanti kita tengok apa yang the submission tu, and then baru kita boleh move on. Okay, as I said earlier, the most important phase is the plan. You can see banyak ni plan ni. In Petronas, we call it the planning as a front end loading ataupun FAIL. We have the FAIL one, which is the feasibility. You have to check whether the project is feasible or not. Second one, the project scope selection is correct or not. The third one, the scope definition is accurate or not. These are three elements that we need to verify, we need to validate in order to have the project to be successful. I think the term coin here of this define and plan is the doing. I like to use this one. I like to use this one, and I would like to share with you everyone here that this is term that you got to remember this. Doing the right project and doing the project right. These two are having the different meaning. Doing the right project. This is where the phase that we define we are doing the right project. What is our objective? What is our target? We determine that by whether are we doing the right project. This is the phase that is very intense, I would say. Okay. This is a gate 3, the gatekeeper 3, where you cannot move to the execution unless you settle this everything. Okay. Remember I said earlier there are submissions need to be fulfilled in order for you to move on. Okay. These are among the submission. First, project charter. You need to have the clear project charter. First, the second, project execution plan, followed by the work breakdown structure, project quality management plan, project HSE. HSE stands for health, safety, and also environment. I mean, basically safety, right? But Petronas we use as the HSE. Okay. Project risk. Risk is important. Your commissioning plan, your operation and maintenance plan, your engineering design, cost estimate, project schedule, project control plan, tender plan, overall contracting strategy, and also economics. So, tak ada ni, semua ni, you cannot move. So, it has to fulfill everything. It has to be acceptable. Baru kita boleh move to the next one. So, as I said earlier, this is the where it's a transition between the plan and to execution phase, where everything need to be fulfilled. Kalau tak ada, memang tak boleh. Okay. Lepas tu baru go to the execution. Macam senang, tapi actually it's not really easy juga. So execution is a different kind of environment. You have to do differently from this planning phase. So this is execution phase where you have got to doing the project right. Maksudnya you have got to manage it right. Salah manage, salah execute, habis. You did not get what is your desired outcome. Then after that, it's the start of cooperation. Okay. So the aim for this project management governance in Petronas, we call it as a Petronas Project Management System, PPMS, the aim is to reduce the risk of unexpected technical and commercial factors significantly affecting project viability. Okay. All right. So the question so far.
Any questions, you guys?
Yeah.
Regarding the, so far we are talking, we're discussing about the project management governance.
Yeah, betul. The project management governance and also the project facing.
Uh-huh.
I think I have one question.
Yes, for you.
Yes, please.
If we look at the table here, this is about duration, right? Like FEL1, FEL2. Does it have any specific time? Like 1 month, 2 months?
Okay.
Yeah.
No specific time. There's no guideline to say that the fair one need to be completed within 1 month or 2 months. No, there's no specific time. But it needs to adhere with whatever your target is. You want it to be completed in 2 years, for example. So all this from this beginning here until here will be within 2 years. So that's all. Tak ada kata fair one yang apa semua ni, because I think there's a problem. There was a problem last time when we try to fix the stage here, fair one to be 1 month, fair two. So it creates a rushing punya environment where people are rushing to submit the deliverable here in order to meet the deadline. So what was happened is when people rush, so they did not analyze the thing correctly. So actually we did not do this doing the right project. That's a problem. So after that we abolish that. We don't set any of the timeline to meet this one, as long as it passes the gate process. That's all. Okay.
I think TS Firdaus, if I can share the some of the scenarios that we have experienced, not by this cohort, but their seniors, for example, they did their final year project, for example, but they couldn't do it, and then they just keep quiet. They did not communicate with the supervisor. They did not alert the examiners. So in the end, they come up with a half-baked project in week 14. So because we have a 14-week to satu semester, so week 14 they have to present the final project, but they couldn't meet this, they couldn't meet that. So I think the front end loading ni, I think the most critical part for the students, because sometimes maybe they feel shy or they feel like they are not competent, they don't want to show it or something like that. I don't know, from students' point of view. Yeah.
I agree with you, Prof. I think this is the important phase. So I mean, it's really defined. It's really. I would say, okay. I don't say that we don't need to adhere with the time. Yes, we do. Tapi for me, in my personal opinion, the most important one, the more important one is actually you have to determine you are doing it rightly. I mean, after that, followed by time. Of course, time is important also. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, I move on. Okay. Ada soalan? Ada. Okay, I move on. All right. Okay. You remember I mentioned about project charter. This is one of the example of the project charter. It's actually a summarized statement about the project name, project scope, objective, and other critical information. You have to have this, everything. And this is not the final one. I mean, it's something like just example saja. You have to have the project name, your description, your objective, the location, contract type, contract award, commissioning, everything is spelled out clearly. Without this, kalau katakan you don't have one of these, so it will create a problem later on. So you have to have this. Okay. So this is example of the project charter. Okay. All right. Okay. After that, this is the project timeline. Okay. This is one example for the project execution. Okay. I mean, I would like to relate whatever dengan apa yang in the academic punya world, tapi apparently I don't have that. So this just sharing my experience, my things from the industry. Tak ada masalah. Okay.
Tak ada masalah. We want to learn from you.
Yeah, but actually it's the same thing. Project timeline and facing is same thing between industrial and also the academic punya world. Both are talking about the timeline and also the TC. As you can see here, the project here, it begins in 2020, and then there are spillover activities to 2021. Okay, so what we try to say here is actually the project consists of 2 years of execution. Okay, 2 years, 2 tahun. You can see the activities starting from kick-off meeting ke sini, start until this one, and then spill over to 2021 until commissioning and final documentation, and also project close out. So this is to say that every project need to have this a clear. Kalau boleh you draw a table macam ni, the months, and then you set what is your thing. This is one example saja, template. You can have any template would do, tapi it tells you clearly what you are expected to do in January, February, March, or long way sampai project complete. So this is the project timeline. Why I say this is important? Ada reason nanti. Kita tengok apa reason kenapa benda ni is very important. Okay. Alright. Tadi I spoke about the project timeline, okay, and also the phases. It consists of 2 years, 3 years, even 5 years pun ada juga. So it depends on the project. Even 6 months pun ada, tak ada masalah. Okay. This I'm talking about the project. I'm talking about the budget appraisal and anything about the 101 project financial. Okay. We got to start with the cost estimation first. Okay. We need to estimate how much of our cost here to have the budget. That means in order to get the budget for a project. For a project ni, how much it costs. Okay. After that, once you got your own cost estimation, you need to do the market benchmarking. You need to know in outside or within Petronas punya ni juga, your project ni, you have to know with your other similar project how others project is doing, how much it costs. So kalau katakan we budgeted, we do the cost estimation of 10,000, suddenly you find your number is very weird. Other project mungkin buat dalam 5K je ataupun 5,000 je. So it becomes questionable why your cost estimate is so high. Then people will start to query you, kenapa tinggi sangat? Why your cost is too high compared to other similar project? Then you have to justify. So this is where project benchmarking is very important. After that, it goes to the WPB and budget appraiser. WPB stands for work program budget. So this is where you define. It's macam tadi, macam WBS juga. You have your define your apa yang nak buat on how do you going to utilize, how is the cost structure of the budget tu. Okay, so you have your WPB, and so you have your budget appraiser. You have to appraise your budget to get this to be submitted and also approved. Okay, after that follows by the submission. You submit your budget, and also there are challenge sessions, I would say. So people are fighting for the budget. People are fighting to get their budget to be approved. So this is the intense session. Others first round, second round, third round, until final round. So that is from an industry point of view. So after that, lepas your submission, lepas your challenge session, then you'll get your budget to be approved. Remember, budget is a big word. Okay, within the approved budget, you need to allocate, or you need to consider your budget to be, of course, one is for your project cost. It does not mean kalau katakan your punya budget is 10K, your approved budget is 10K, your project cost will be 10K juga, tak boleh. Sebab apa? Your approved budget is a lump sum, everything. You want the money to be for that year to be 10K. Tapi you got to manage your project cost is how much. This is where when you award to the contractor, the project cost cannot be as the same figure as the approved budget. It should be lower. There's no rule of thumb. Tapi kalau katakan your approved budget is 10K, then your project cost is maybe 8K. Okay, because there are other costs involved also for the project. Apart from the project cost, which is you have to give or pay your contractor to do it, you have to pay for the resource cost also. Your project team it will consist of your project manager, your project engineer, engineering manager, or the discipline engineers. So they will charge accordingly their time their time man hour. I would say dia punya cost consuming cost in order for help to manage the project. So this is where the resource cost. After that, it's the incidental. Incidental refers to cost of anything macam traveling, meals, or anything that they claim expenses for the project. People will travel, people will eat kalau katakan berkenaan dengan project. So this is all the lodging, everything. So these are the incidental costs. After that, you have to have the 30% of contingency. This is very important. You do not know, you did not expect. Sometimes suddenly things you need to have extra money. Kalau tak ada contingency langsung, you got the approved budget later on, tak ada duit dah, cukup orang kata cukup makan. So your approved budget need to consider these 4 elements. It's very important. Okay. Other than that, about the project financial, okay, remember this term, payment milestone. Okay, you have your budget, you have the project, which awarded to your contractor. The project will consist of the milestone. Okay, for example, okay, I mean just give example of payment milestone here. Project will start with the project kick-off. Okay, and then the milestone is 20%. Okay, then the following activity is the engineering and construction sign off, which is consists of 70%, and then your project closure is 10%. Okay, so this is the payment milestone. Okay, from the total amount of money of project, for example, tadi 10K, for example 10K, 20% from the 10K is this one, 70% of the 10K is this one, and the 10% of this 10K is this one. So this is your payment milestone. You will have to pay your contractor based on this milestone. Okay, based on the schedule. Okay, all right. Second thing is about the PO, purchase order ataupun SO, service order, ataupun ada banyak term kat sini orang pakai. So it's a PO or SO or anything else issuance. You have to issue your PO to the contractor in order to start the work. Macam invoice and purchase order. Kalau tak ada ni, orang takkan boleh start benda ni. And then that you got to really, this is the scope for the project manager or maybe other people in the project management team. You need to monitor your budget utilization. Budget utilization based on the VOWD. This is the term where we call as a VOWD stands for value of work done. Ni yang issue, I mean this is not political lah, tapi remember the issue the Sabah punya gas pipeline yang hari tu dulu 2 tahun lepas kan ada issue. When government pay in advance tapi kerja tak siap lagi. This is the issue. So supposedly kerja kena siap, work done. Work need to be done baru payment can be paid. This is where it's very important. Kita kena pay accordingly after the work has been done, has been completed. After that, year-end projection. You have to project that your budget ni is actually, we can utilize it until end of the year. So this is the projection. Kalau katakan we see we cannot utilize this budget of everything, this is where the things comes. Budget accrual, meaning to say that you have to accrue some of the approved budget this year to next year. Tapi there are condition where you cannot accrue everything. You only can accrue of certain amount, and then only for the first 3 months of that following year. For example, I have the remaining budget which is I feel that I cannot accomplish this year, so I will accrue this, but my accrued budget is only can be used for the months of January, February, and also March only. That is the governance of the rule. Okay, so remember, as the previous slide said, project timeline is continuous. It can be continuous like 2 years, 3 years or even 5 years. Tapi budget is only based on yearly appraisal. Meaning to say that kalau you see your project will be spill over to the next year, you got to appraise your budget for the following year. Tak appraise budget for the following year, tak ada budget lah projek tu, tak jalan lah projek tu. This is very important. Okay. Okay, I move on. All right, this is a project management team. This is an example of a project management team. It will consist, this is example, this is consist of the project manager, you have a project engineer, interface engineer, document controller, then you have your project planning control, contract management, quality, and also HSE. And you have the team of construction and you have the team of commissioning. The most important team is the engineering team. So this is where the engineering team, the engineering manager will report directly to the project manager. So this is a typical structure of the project management team. How can we know these resources are available or not? We can do the manpower loading analysis in order to determine they are not busy and they can be dedicated to the project. Okay, right. Next one, key resources. Okay, I see the project will consist of these key resources as important. This is critical. We can have other resources, tapi these are the key critical resources for particular project. The first one, project manager. This is important one. Project engineer, engineering manager, discipline lead engineers, the interface, those that in charge of the schedule, or planner and control, HSE, quality, and then document controller. Each of these has their own job description, their roles and their responsibility. Unique roles and unique responsibility. Tak boleh ada duplicate, tak boleh ada macam you are encroached to other people punya boundary or roles and responsibility, tak boleh. Each will have their own roles and responsibility. The most important one is this fella, project manager. So the keyword here, you got to have a right. You have not right. Right is not a right word. You have to have a competent person. And also, although you have the competent person, but you have to you need to have a good team. So I would say a competent person with a good team is crucial for the project. Okay. Okay. Next one, project management tools. Okay. This is not to say that everything. This is what I've been thinking of and also what I'm being used. There are other tools as well. Okay. First of all, talking about the data management system. You have every set of document, reports, data sheet, specification, apa lagi semua kan, drawings, semua banyak. So how do you manage these documents? You ada 1000 document. How do you manage this? So this is where a platform, in order for you and your contractor to review, to approve, transmit, receive various project document. For example, macam drawing, report, data sheet, instruction, and everything. Okay. The project also need to have this tools for the scheduling. For example, we can use the Microsoft project, Gantt chart. It's not Gantt chart, it's a Gantt 9.0, if I'm mistaken. Google Sheet, or even you can create your own template as well. No problem. But as long as you need to have this tool. Okay. After that, you have to have your progress report. What are the tools? You have the one pager. One pager is actually a summarize. A manager sometimes, or maybe a big boss, management, they don't have time actually. What they want is actually, they wanted to know the progress in one page. So it's a summary. So everything consists within the one pager. In one pager here, you have the S-curve. The S-curve will tell you whether you are ahead of the schedule, or you are on time, or you are behind the schedule. with some progress. So it's basically your actual progress versus your planned progress versus your actual progress. That's important. Okay, then we see whether the project is leading or lagging. Or even you can create your own template for the project progress report. Okay. After that, also there are tools of the engineering software. Okay, I think this part you are more familiar on this. It consists of AutoCAD, StatPro, CADNA, Etol, IBWave, Pavlos, 3D Spark Plan, and whatsoever. So everything is consists of the engineering software. Okay, these are the tools that are important for the project. Okay. Okay, next slide. Because the risk is very important. Okay, we got to evaluate the risk of the project in every stage. I would recommend to evaluate the risk in every stage, every phase. Okay, when we do the risk assessment, we call it RA. During the conceptual phase, the define phase, the plan phase, feasibility phase, the execution phase, and even when you want to start up operation, you got to do the risk assessment. Okay, the risk assessment is a very important element of the project. Okay, this is an example of the risk assessment in Petronas, where in the risk assessment it defines your issue, your consequences, and also your safeguard. How are you going to mitigate the risk? Okay, and then the risk itself will be classified to the category. So whether it's acceptable or not, as you can see here, the overall risk is A3. Okay, where is A3? Here is A3. So it's considered as a low. Green means okay lah, low risk. So it can be executed with the existing safeguard here. So kalau katakan the risk is very high, for example E5 here, so the things still can be executed, tapi your safeguard need to be lengthy. You need to have many safeguards in order to mitigate the risk. So this is where I said very important you to do the risk assessment. Whether risk assessment can be done in any means. That does not mean to be macam ni. Tapi you need to know what is your risk, what is your consequences of that risk, apa jadi kalau katakan isu ni terjadi, and then what can we do to mitigate the risk. This is important. Okay, right. Okay, about the document management. Okay, because we got lots of document. Okay, so all project document will be stored in the company punya storage database. Okay, so the contractor to submit the project document in this database. Okay, the document management to follow the company punya guideline. They cannot simply because there are many things, there are many approach they can do, but they need to follow the company punya document management guideline. Okay, first of all, I would say you need, or maybe the document controller, that's where importance of the document controller, he needs to create or establish a master deliverable register. What is the MDR here? It's talking about list of the document in terms of classification documents. For example, the document are classified as Z, which is mandatory for company to review and approval. They are also classed as X. Company is requested to review, but it's not mandatory. There are documents that classified as 0, kosong, for information, and there are documents that classify II, internal use, no need to issue to the company. So these are the classification of the document. And also, okay, this is correspond to this. So it's for information, for review, or for approval. We name it as RR, FA, AFC, and XP. So go to here, and then when company review those documents, the company will give the code accordingly, whether the document is approved without comment anything, or code 2 is accepted, still accept, but with comment. Code 3 will reject. reject document and ask the contractor to resubmit. And code 4 just for information, not action required. So this is talking about the MDR, the process of document. And then the document controller will establish the DDM, what we call the document distribution matrix. It will tell the document will give to who. Not every document, not people, every people will need to review. For example, macam, I give example macam telecommunication design basis. Okay. This design basis, project manager tak nak tahu pun. Okay. The important people, the right people wanted to review this document is the engineering manager. Okay. People yang wanted to review the telecom design basis is this fella and these people. Yang lain tak perlu tahu pun, just for information. This is where the matrix is important to determine where the document will go for the review. Okay, the rest just review saja. Tapi yang approve with this would be the engineering manager and also the discipline engineers. Okay. So far ada question ke? Banyak lah. Tak tahu. Okay, tak ada
Tak
Okay,
ada.
I move forward. Okay, tak ada. So far tak apa. Nanti kita at the end mungkin ada question. Okay. Alright. Project communication is very important. We need to know to who we want to communicate with or we shall communicate. First of all, we will need to communicate with our customer or our client, which is our owner. Siapa owner tu, we have to communicate there. We need to update them in terms of the progress, everything, whether the budget is okay or not, everything. The project itself also will have its respective shareholder ataupun stakeholder. We need to communicate with them. Okay. Then we need to communicate well with our contractor or system integrator here. Then we need to communicate with our supplier or manufacturer. Kalau ketika projek tu ada related dengan government, we need to communicate with our government. Okay. Or sometimes can refer to this shareholder ataupun stakeholder juga. And we need to communicate with team members, among team members. So I just want to visualize every project will have this sort of communication. We need to know how, who, and also how we want to communicate with this party here. So this is important. We know and then how we communicate. Okay, next one, project communication. Okay, this is just an example, the flow of the project with communication. Kalau katakan ada kena mengena dengan project management, contract, commercial related, everything, as apa, for example, macam letters, notice, change order, proposal, where it goes to where? So the attention to be to the project manager. Tapi kalau katakan is engineering related, macam technical queries, site technical queries, everything, it goes to the engineering manager. So what are the normal or typical communication method? You can use emails. You can use emails, you can use the letters or memo, even you can use phone, or nowadays you can use the online meeting platform, Google Meet, Zoom, MS Teams. You can use the storage, the open one like Dropbox, SharePoint. You can use the social media, even WhatsApp ke, Facebook ke, not sure, but Petronas does not allow that. And also, I mean, in terms of, you can communicate in terms of document, drawings, and other deliverable, and any other methods. Okay, so these are the typical communication methods. Okay.
TS, if I can ask you regarding the project communications,
Yes.
what do you think of the communication during this pandemic when everything is online? Do you experience like miscommunication as well when you don't meet face to face in managing projects?
Okay, in my point of view, there's no difference between face to face and also online meeting, because still I experience still there is a miscommunication also still. So I mean, instead of apart from face to face ataupun online meeting, actually face to face is better because you clarify straight away. You see the face, you clarify straight away. Online meetings, you still see the face, but sometimes people will go for break. People will go for rest. So you cannot see the people, the expression, the things, the feeling, everything. There's a difference between that two. But in terms of miscommunication, it still happens. So what normally I do is actually I will have the initial meeting with them, via online meeting ataupun face-to-face. But I will ensure the minutes of meeting to be there, and also we need to have the clarification, the post meeting. So in order for us to understand what has been discussed and what has been agreed, to avoid the miscommunication. Itulah. Tapi I would say face to face is better, but because of the pandemic, everything, so online meeting is now preferred. Actually, that's where people sekarang ni, people is slowly going back to the office to do the work, tapi still in rotation basis. So I'm at home now. Next week I'll be coming to office. Tapi itulah, it's better to be face to face. If you have you try to avoid the miscommunication, you need to have the minutes, you need to have the post clarification for post meeting punya ni to clarify that everyone is agreed to the action item.
I see.
Okay. That's my way approach lah. Tapi it depends on the people juga lah kan. Okay. Alright. Project report and meeting. It depends on your project manager. If you are the project manager, it depends how you define your progress reporting. You can have the daily report, you can have the weekly report, or you can have the monthly report. So you need to define your cut-off date. When is your daily report cut-off date, and also the report submission, when you want your contractor to submit the report. So you can have a daily report, weekly or monthly, but you need to define your cut-off date and when you want to submit the report. After that, apart from progress, apart from reporting, you need to have the meeting as well. So you can have the daily meeting, you can have the weekly meeting, monthly or sponsor meeting or bi-weekly meeting, any means will be. So, but the most important one you have to define. If you want to have a daily meeting, with who you want to have the meeting, and what is your meeting expectation? These two are important one. You can have daily or can have meeting weekly, tapi who and what is the result, outcome you want to have with the meeting. That's important one. Okay. After that, okay, KPI setting. Okay, this is the example of the KPI. Okay. We define it as a lagging KPI and also leading KPI. There are two different meaning of lagging KPI and leading KPI. Lagging KPI, we follow, means that we set the KPI, then either we meet or not meeting the KPI. Leading KPI is you're doing it upfront or you're doing it due diligence. So these are the two different in terms of KPI. So lagging KPI, example macam your fatality must be 0, your lost time incident must be 0, major HSC punya non-compliance must be 0, major fire to be 0. So these are the example of the lagging KPI. Whereas for the leading KPI, your execution of compliance, this kalau macam nampak sini kan, semua macam due diligence. You do upfront, you proactively doing, proactive. Okay, so these are your KPI you need to set for the project. So okay, so this is example for the HSC safety KPI. You have the quality KPI as well. Okay, for example macam kita engineers kan, engineering. So your punya, for example I give this one engineering punya KPI, quality KPI. So engineering drawing revision post AFC approved for construction, it needs to be below or less than 5% of the rejection. Kalau katakan your drawing submission, your contractor submit the drawing, the rejection rate or revision rate is too high. What it tells you is actually the quality of the engineering deliverable is having an issue. That's where the intervention from the engineering manager or the project manager is important. He needs to see what are the real problems of the engineering quality or engineering deliverables in order to have this to be lower than 5%. Okay. So that is the job of the engineering manager to ensure the quality. What is the problem? Adakah the engineers are not competent, or the contractor is not competent, or they having the budget constraint? So these are the factors. Nanti I will touch on that, the common problem with the project management. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, I'm touching now. Okay. So this will be my last slide. Ada banyak lagi nak share, tapi because of time permits, tapi this is the last slide. What are the common issue? There are others issue, tapi what are the typical issue faced at project? Okay. We normally at the end of the project punya plan, at the end of the project punya execution, we will conduct the project lesson learn. So what it says here, project lesson learn is an activity conducted after project closure in order to specify the issue faced that we previously faced and the mitigation plan in order for the reference for the future project. So kalau katakan ada similar project will execute or will be established later on, those projects will see, okay, the project lesson learned from the previous project is this. So we will have the mitigation plan, or we will try to avoid, to have the problem to be repeated nanti. Okay, first, the common one is talking about budget, duit lah. Okay. Inadequate budget, tak cukup budget, ataupun underutilized budget cukup tapi tak utilized properly. So benda ni nak duit tak cukup pun problem, duit terlebih pun problem.
Ni sometimes isu juga kat university, because if you know that sometimes we got research grant, and but some researchers, they think that in the future they will not get it, so they simpan, they keep it like their own money, so they treat it like oh, it's okay lah, we don't need to buy this, we already have it. But research management center at UPM, who is the one managing the research grants, they will take it back once the project is completed. I mean, the project ended, the deadline or the end date is has passed, but the project is completed, but the money is still there. They will just take back the money.
Yeah.
Prof, quite an issue among researchers.
Yes, Prof, if you encounter problem also, when the center, the people, those people that approve the budget, they see that today, this year I approve for 10 million, for example. Suddenly I see the things budget is underutilized. So next year, when the same people try to appraise the budget, they will ask 10 million, and then people are start questioning. Okay, last year I give you 10 million, but you did not utilize it. So because of that, now for this year I only give you 1 million saja. So that is the problem with the underutilized budget.
Exactly.
So betul. So the thing is, we got to have the proper cost estimate. We need to know, actually in economics, kita kena tahu berapa sebenarnya kita boleh spend. That's the most important one in order to avoid this underutilized budget. Nanti tahun depan kita nak minta the same amount tak boleh, pasal orang kata tahun lepas orang tak pakai pun budget tu. So that creating the problem. So that's why the mitigation plan here is we need to have the proper cost estimation and also a very strong budget control. Kita tahu kita boleh realize the budget. Okay, alright. Second issue, second common issue, poor planning. Your plan is very poor. Your plan is haywire, very poor, and then you don't have any mitigation. It does not follow the sequence, everything. This is the most common problem juga in project management. So what is the mitigation? This is among, I don't say this is the solid mitigation, tapi is among of the mitigation plan is to have the solid planning and need to have the priority together with a strong management team. Your project manager must be a very competent, very strong person. in order to see the planning will not go to haywire, and then it needs to be executed timely. Kalau katakan dah delay 1 hari pun, dia kejar juga 1 hari. Jangan being dragged for 1 week or 1 month baru nak kejar benda tu, tak boleh. So it needs to be very strong, competent, strong management team. Of course, that for to other issue, lack of leadership on and also execution. Your project manager, maybe it's not your project manager je to be blamed. It's something your team juga, your execution team need to be a competent management and competent resources. This is very important. Competent is a very big word, it's a very wide word. I would say competent too, you need to check in terms of their technical background, their background, their degree, their job, not experience, their qualification, their experience, whether they are competent to do the job or not. This is very important. Kalau katakan you suruh civil engineer buat telecom engineering, tak boleh jalan. So cannot be like that. It must be a competent telecom engineer. That's the important one. Okay, the fourth one, underperform contractor. This is a typical issue. Kita masa buat bidding tu, masa kita bid for the project tu, contractor bid for the project tu, everything okay, tip top. Okay, I have the experience, I have this one, I have semua tu. Tapi masa buat projek, dapat projek kat dia orang, hancur. So, of course, validation for the contractor competency is vital. The experience is vital. You need to get the right contractor to do the right job. Okay, so kalau jadi juga benda ni kan, to safeguard, kita boleh safeguard such as kita boleh provision for the second best bidder. There are provision in the contract where kalau katakan the first bidder, those whoever that wins the job tu underperform, so the company has the right to replace the contractor. Of course, kena bayar some compensation. We replace the first two with the second best bidder to be the contractor. Ada provision to safeguard us. Other than that, we have the LED, the liquefied damage. Meaning to say that the contractor will have to pay certain damage to the company. Dia takut kalau katakan the damage is too big, the compensation is too big for 10 million. Dia pun takut lah kan. So dia kena perform lah in order for them to not paying the LED. Of course, the BG, bank guarantee. Bank guarantee is a deposit that the contractor has to pay to the company, to us, to Petronas. So the deposit macam 10 million in the bank. So kalau katakan the contractor does not perform, so the deposit ni will be credited to us. Tapi kalau in the end of project, kalau they are performing well, no problem. This amount will be transmitted back to them. This is their money. Okay. Common issue, another common issue, delays. Okay, and delay ni problem kan? This very common. We can delay in of our procurement, we can delay in our engineering, we can delay in our items, we can delay in our schedule. Everything will be delayed. So for me, this is macam typical punya issue lah, delay. Will be delay. Even one day delay pun jadi delay juga. So mitigation plan, always have in mind any alternative solution. We can be creative, we can have the alternative solution. Project manager is always to figure out the problem before it does. Dia still kena ahead of the thinking. Okay, dia ada potential delay, so we must have the mitigation plan. For example, kalau katakan the items having a long lead item, meaning to say that the delivery time it takes longer. Kata hari tu janji nak sampai 1 minggu, tengok-tengok jadi sampai 1 bulan. So we have to pre-identify this potential long lead item ni. Kita tahu dah, okay, kemungkinan akan delay. Recently kan ada issue in terms of chipset. Global punya chipset ada delay sebab manufacturer cannot cope with the demands. So we know already that there will be a potential delay, so kita kena identify the delay. We have to identify the risk, and then we have to analyze the risk as well. Okay. Another issue in terms of the design and the quality. The quality in terms of design, the quality in terms of the engineering punya quality, fabrication quality, and even masa nak install punya quality pun issue juga. So for that, we got to determine the quality goals, strict quality punya outcome, frequent inspection, always kena inspect benda ni. Kita tak boleh nak lagi macam contoh, those people do the installation, fabrication, there must be an inspector from our side to check every day apa yang dibuat, whether can we meet the progress or not, even the quality, how they do it. Sometimes they will do the welding. This is my experience. They do the welding, inspector tak ada. So what they do, they did not weld welding to accordingly to the common practice. They use the third party punya material, which result in NDT, call it macam quality of the welding too, that is not as per what we expected. Then ada issue. So that is where the inspection is very much important. And for the project, there must be always an awareness program. Kita kena macam buat program selalu kata benda ni quality is number one, safety is number one, to bring up the moral of this project management team and also contractor, in order for us to meet the deadline and also to meet the project timeline also, and also the result outcome. Okay, I think that's all about it. That's my sharing. Any question? Any question?
Okay, thank you, T.S. Firdaus. Any question from the students?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, please, for you.
Contingency. Just now it is 30%. So what happen if we don't use the behind money?
So you mean
Actually,
the leftover money, the
The
unspent money?
leftover, yeah.
Yeah.
okay, meaning okay, I try to understand here. You were saying, you're asking if we have the extra money, what we need to do, is it? Macam tu?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I don't like to have the extra money. Okay, sebab it will create lots of issues sebenarnya. You have to justify kenapa tak pakai, kenapa you are underutilized, everything. So first of all, try not to have too much of the extra money. Okay. Second one, if you have the extra money already, okay, you need to think. Okay, I go back to this one. Okay, you need to think how can you spend the money. Okay, extra money is already there. You cannot do anything. You cannot do much of it. Let's say, for example, your approved budget is 10K, 10K. Tapi you only utilize for 5K saja for that year. Susah nak jawab benda tu sebenarnya. So you got to, you have to check whether is there any activities you can do in parallel or you can do it in advance. For example, I give you a scenario macam ni. Within this year, you have to complete your engineering punya review. Dia punya data sheet, report, everything you have to complete. Tapi you are not able to complete all. So what can you do is actually you bring up front those activity that is planned for the next year. You can do it in parallel. So kalau katakan you can do and you can complete those activity that you plan for next year within this year, you can have the activity to be executed this year, and you can have that activity to be paid. So your punya payment must still maintain the same. So because you are doing in advance for that activity, so that makes your activity, your upfront punya ni, yang bring upfront punya activity to be paid earlier. So you're able to use that money, you're able to utilize the money. tak nampak teruk sangat. The underutilization still happen, tapi tak nampak teruk sangat. From 50% underutilized become 30% underutilized. Still okay lah, boleh lah. Tapi it's not a good thing, tapi still better than nothing. Okay.
Okay, thank you, TS Firdaus. Any more question? I have one, Firdaus. What happened? For example, I'm just sharing our experience. Last year, I taught engineers and society, and then we plan to do like a training, STEM training lah for high school students, and we plan everything for face-to-face, like going to the school and teach them about IoT lah, mangrove ecosystem, or using IoT monitoring, etc. But suddenly, when the MCO was announced and everything has to be changed like 180 degree, somehow it is it reduced the morale of the students, because the student was excited to go, and then sometimes they have planned everything because it also involved project management. I asked them to come up with their own proposal on budget, on expectation, on continuous quality, etc. And then sometimes when they have to change it to an online session, their morale is down. And if you notice that these students have been online for 2 years already, almost 2 years, since March 2020. They haven't come to difficulty except for labs just recently. So this very much affecting the quality of our education, I must say. I don't want to say this in front of the students, but to be honest, I feel that. I don't know about the students. Do you feel that way? But it's not the same. So I think in teaching and learning, the pandemic really is a game changer for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
True. I mean that.
But do you experience that in Petronas managing the projects there?
Okay. Yes, I think it's the same thing, same sentiment, same approach, same everything, same. We normally do our project. We do it face to face. We sit together with the contractor, doing the review together, have the meeting together, everything with face to face. So at the pace that we actually, when we have a problem, it's very fast. Can be solved. Not very fast. Faster can be solved. So because of the face to face. But now because of this pandemic, imagine we used to have this inspection. We go to inspect our material, our item in the warehouse. That is before pandemic. During pandemic, because of the limitation of this traveling, everything. The thing is, we do it online, meaning to say that we somebody there set up the online meeting, having the camera face the item, then we do inspection online. So imagine you try to inspect everything. It's the same thing like we buy things at shop, and we buy things from Shopee or Lazada. So same thing. You scroll there, scroll here. Until you're satisfied. So it's actually time consuming. But I think we got to do that. There's no choice. We got to do that. It's the same thing also. So you have to review your document online. You have to meet of the internship. Maybe I just need your help because I sometimes forgot.
Okay, sure.
I just need your help. Kalau katakan, just an email. If then if let's say I see the opportunity, I will email you back. In terms of if let's say there's some interest of the internship. Yes, I do. It's very good. It's very good. Actually, you intern. You have your experience with the internship program where you interact well with the industry, with the organization. So it's a very good, very good. I really encourage that.
Okay, thank you.